Now then, welcome back to Material Energy Hypercubed. On the Feed Please Launcher third-party mod pack made by Parcel 31U. I'm still looking for the thing that I need to do in this. Right, I've unlocked things. Okay, I've unlocked things. Let's just see. We sort of got stuck, or at least I got stuck, getting to the amber wool. Yeah, which unlocks a quest elsewhere. And to do that, I needed to do Lost Souls, which meant that I had to do that Soul Sand, last episode. I also did the Auto Crafter, and I also managed to get the Solarium, and I've been out and I've grabbed myself some Pyrotheum from down in the Nethersphere, and I've unlocked the Amber Wool, so I've got the Amber Wool, and I've got me bits and pieces for that, and that has unlocked Lost in Time. And Lost in Time, I already like the look of Lost in Time because it gives me the Applied Energistics inscribing tools that I need. The space-time manipulation was just a simple flux time unifier that I had to make, which gave me another heart canister and the reflection of space. Now, I don't want to get onto the reflection of space just yet because I've still got a few niggly little quests here and there around here that I want to try and finish off first. Particularly the Wither Skeletons, and then onto the Nether Stars and the Nether Wart. Well, Nether Stars mainly. But I made last episode this powered spawner for skeletons, which I can supply with power to activate it. And what I've done in testing is drained a couple of these big energy cells, well, leadstone energy cells, drained a couple of leadstone energy cells completely dry. And outside of the plains biome, which is the actual spatial area over there, nothing will spawn. On the rooftop up there, things will spawn. So the plains, this is a mushroom biome. This one is a mushroom island biome. So even with the spawner on, eating power, it will not spawn the mobs. Which is a bit of a pain, right? And all the way up on the top there, there's not really a very good active power source. So to get power, I'm either going to need to sort out all I need to do Tesseracts, which is possible, but my Ender Pearl supply is not very good. Ender Pearls 16, you see? Not great. I still keep farming the Ender Pearls, but I'm not getting a lot from them. So I'm not going to get a lot of Enderium, which is probably, I don't know, maybe enough to make maybe 1.5 Tesseracts at the minute, which means farming a load more Ender Pearls. So I thought, while the Ender Pearls are growing, I best do something. And I found these big reactors, pieces in the AE system, and thought, I know what I'll do. I'll build a big reactor up on the roof up there to power spawners, and have a mob system up there with powered spawners galore with a big reactor powering it all. Thought, yeah, that's a thing. That's something I can do. That's something that's worth doing, isn't it? Well, from previous quests and things, we've got 25 reactor casings, 5 Yolorium fuel rods, and 3 reactor coolant ports. I'm not 100% sure what these reactor coolant ports do, but maybe they inject the reactor coolants. What I am fairly sure of is that I don't need them for this particular project. Okay, this gives me the idea to make a simple big reactor. I don't need that either. So I'm going to start this episode by setting this up in place, roughly what I think I need to do, and then from there I can work on getting the bits that I need to finish it off. These reactor casings are fairly cheap, really, fairly cheap. Not amazingly cheap, but fairly cheap. Not too bad at all. I don't know whether to build it so I'm slightly off the edge here. I probably want to build it fairly close so that my applied energistic system could reach up to it. So I could bring an applied energistics up here to feed it in the future. So let's build it just here. Let's make that the corner. Actually, let's make that the middle block. And I'm just going to do the smallest big reactor I think is possible. And that should mean that I've got this as a central access point down there where I can see the arrows. That's good. and that can give me an access port just here. Okay, so the smallest I can do, as far as I'm aware, and this may not work, Yellurium fuel rods here, a 3x3 base, no coolant required, just build up the sides here, and I think I can just use reactor glass around there as well. So I'm gonna pop and just build around here like this, leaving space on the top for a controller. And that is what Parcel has given us so far. He's given us another couple of fuel rods, but that's okay. Now I need to get Yellurium in and get the blue stuff out. What's the blue stuff? Not plutonium, that's something you can turn it into. There's the, the blue stuff that's the waste. So I'm going to need inputs and outputs and a controller. And as far as I'm aware, that's not too difficult to achieve. I think I've got some charcoal here, and I believe the charcoal turns into graphite bars. So let's just test that and make sure that's an actual thing. That's a recipe in the thing. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Let's turn charcoal into graphite. Should give it to me here. Yeah, there we go, graphite bars. Okay, so in that case, I got to kind of figure out how many I need so that I don't waste the charcoal, because I don't need graphite bars just sitting in here. Graphite. I've actually got 20 graphite dust there as well. Well, that's cool. Okay, well I can cook the graphite dust, I believe, into graphite as well, which will save me on charcoal. Let's do it like that. Yeah, cook it like that, that'll do. There's the first 3, anyway. Yeah, that should do it. Let's see what the recipes are like for the big reactors. Let's go reactor. Right, so we've got the reactor casing, which I don't think I need any more of unless it's a material component. Reactor controller. Let's have a look. A diamond, some Yellurium, and 4 reactor casings. Okay, so I'm going to need 4 reactor casings for that, which is 4 graphite, some iron, and some Yellurium. And they get 4 for 1 recipe, so that's pretty good. I can do that. And we're going to need, I think, 2 controllers. I think I need one at the top and one at the bottom. Maybe. Well, I've got enough for several blocks there. That's good. Okay. Reactor. Now, what I'm doing here is going to show you the recipes. So, Yellurium I've got loads of. Graphite I'm just making, and I can use charcoal to make. Iron I've got plenty of as well. And that's making the reactor casings for me. So I should be able to make as many reactor casings as I need. So I could make a bigger reactor if I wanted, but I don't really want to. So to make a controller, I'm going to need 4 of those, a diamond, some more Yellurium, and redstone. Shouldn't be a problem. Get some controllers. I need a reactor control rod, and I believe that's the thing that goes in the top. And that's just 4 reactor casings, a bit of Yellurium, redstone, and a couple of these. Shouldn't be a problem either. And then I need a power tap to take the power out. So maybe I need 2 of those to be able to take power out from 2 sides, but that's nice and easy as well. And then an access port allows me to put Yellurium in, and I believe it also allows me to take it out. I'll have to test that. I'll make 1 and see what that is. I don't know what the coolant port does. I don't need the RedNet port because I'm not using RedNet. And computer port is probably for some sort of computer craft. And then there's reactor glass, which is just glass and reactor casings. And that looks like all there is. There's a redstone port as well, which allows me to switch it on and off. Maybe that's a good thing. It's like a master off switch. I could just use a lever on that and switch it off. So maybe I'll get one of those. What's this? Cyanide reprocessing. I'm not needing that yet. And I don't need the turbines and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to craft up a few pieces and install a big reactor. Okay, hopefully this will work. Hopefully this will be the thing that I need to do. 2 more of that. Okay, and I've got a little bit left over, which will be for the next big reactor, I suppose. I tried as carefully as possible to not overdo it. But, of course, I needed a few bits. Now, I don't know this is the optimized version, but it is a big reactor. It's just turned into a big reactor before our very eyes. So it's a reactor, and it's stuff blowing up everywhere. I've found out that these, I made 2 of the outlets. Where's the reactor? Let's put it in here so I can show you. Reactor. 2 of these reactor access ports, right? And inside you've got an inlet mode and an outlet mode. There we go. Inlet and outlet. So I set one of them to inlet and one of them to outlet. Simple as that. And the reactor is currently offline. I've got no fuel in it, so it is a reactor. I've got an output there and an output there, and I can't access those, so I'm guessing that's just a case of adding the cables in. So I figured that as this is my access to the farm, the mob farm, that I would have the fuel in and out there so I can drop it down there and have the AE system supplying and taking from there. I can come up and access the controller and see inside it for whatever reason, and I've got the power actually coming out from that axis down there and this axis down here to give me a wide area of where I can set up my mob farm with power. But now we've got to see if it actually works, because that's my very first big reactor, and I had to watch a little tutorial by some of my friends that you may know and love to figure out exactly how the basics were. Lewis has already built big reactors and the great big turbines before in a series that I did with him, and I didn't remember exactly, but I did have a good idea of what was needed. So it didn't take much to refresh my memory as to exactly what I needed, and hopefully I got it right. Hopefully. Where's the Ulerium? There's the Ulerium. Okay, let's take some of those. In fact, can I make them into blocks? Yes, I can. That should last a bit longer if I take them out as blocks, won't it? I'm going to start off with 1 ingot, I think, and then put blocks in if that works, and see if blocks work as well, for refueling purposes, just to keep it going a little while. And I should probably have brought up an energy cell with me. Do I have one in here? Yes, I do. A leadstone energy cell. Good. And an energy output. This only sends out 80 RF per tick. Nowhere near enough. I think the next thing I need to do is actually work on Ender IO and get a load of cool things for Ender IO sorted out. Right, let's pop that in there. Okay, well, it's gone straight in. Started putting a bit of fuel in the fuel rod. Okay, that's good, I think. Let's turn it on and see what we get out of this little bit of fuel. So this little reactor is building up heat. It's very, very stable. That's not going to cause me any difficulties whatsoever, is it? 60 flux, or 60 redstone flux per tick. Not too bad, not too bad. I'm sure I could optimize the design a little bit. Add a little bit more fuel in there. Yeah. Why? Fuel eject, waste eject, inlet mode. Yep, that's right. Okay. Maybe that's not going to work. Maybe the blocks don't work. Let's see. I'll break it down into this and put the them in separate. Yeah, it goes in then. Okay, now it's full. Now it's full. Oh, wow, look at all that. That shot up once I put the fuel in. The reactor casing heat seems stable. I think because they're not in the red, they're not too high. They're pretty stable. That great big one downstairs doesn't do nearly as much as this, really, does it? The core temperatures and stuff, I've got it low down, like overcooled, super cooled downstairs. Yeah, and it's producing nearly 600 RF per tick, like this. So I reckon that's a big success. These spawners, they take quite a lot per tick. If I can place one down over here, let's say. This, we've got a detail, maximum 320 RF per tick. So it can take 320 RF per tick max. But that's quite efficient, I think. Quite efficient. I could run 2 spawners off this one big reactor quite sufficiently, keeping the spawner on a high level of activity. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Alright, so now leadstone energy cell, and we'll set that up so that it's receiving energy from behind it. There we go. And it'll receive 80 per tick on this side and 80 on this side. Now I need to make a load of pieces of machinery to make things for the Ender IO power conducts, because I don't really have any other power conducts, do I? I don't really have any other supply of. And I've got this one that was used on the big reactor downstairs, and I've pretty much used up all the rest apart from these 8. And they only do 640. Well, actually, 640 is more than enough, isn't it? So I only need to make these guys. Make some more of these guys. So what's the recipe on those? The recipe is conductive iron and conduct binder. Conductive iron is iron and redstone in a smelter. Nice and easy as well. So I can make a bunch of that. And the conducts... Now that's going to be a little bit more difficult, isn't it? Because this binder composite, I've got clay, sand and gravel. Clay, sand and gravel. Now, clay we could possibly make with a sag mill on auto something or other to make slag. And I can also do it through Minechem. I think I would like to process clay like this, make it into blocks and process it down to get the silicon. It does lose a bit of clay on the way, but I can do this infinite cycle as well to get clay, because I know a little trick to do this. So first off, to make those things happen, I need to do a little thermal expansion setup down there to make me the composite to make the silicon that I'm going to need for this conduct binder. And while I'm doing that, I'll make a load of conductive iron as well. I'm going to need loads of this stuff. So I'm going to take a little break and just go and start setting things up. Just before I get my head in the crafting though, I've been carrying these golden boots around to give them a 30 level enchant. Because my boots at the moment, the Damascus steel ones, have already got feather falling on them. And I can't add another enchant to the boots. So, fire protection 4, that's not too bad, having a protection. I can do it a slightly different way, which I'll show you quickly, because once I've got the mob farms all set up for XP grinding, then I'll be able to do this myself. Let's get a book. There we go. And I need to repair them first. So gold. Gold. Thank you. Give me some gold. I should have probably just done a fresh pair of boots, but never mind. Right, let's take this down to the experience. I've still got the barrels of experience down here. In fact, I'm just going to drop down, because it never really hurts that much. Let's grab a few levels. 5 might be enough. Let's see. So that repaired 13. Okay, 13 for a full repair. Bang, 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 bang. 13 we've got. Thank you very much. There we go. Okay, and now it's repaired. I can put a book next to it. So fire protection 4 and a book fully repaired. That's the important stage. And I get the enchanted book off it. I lose the item, but I do get the enchantment off it. And then, give me the boots. I can now put fire protection on my boots for 11 enchantment cost. Alright, calm down, would you? Just put your XP in here for me, would you? Thank you, and shut up. All of you. God, they're a noisy bunch of guests, aren't they? There we go. So now I've got fire protection and feather falling. And with an XP farm, like this, up there, that's running whenever I want it to, I can have whatever enchantments I damn well please. I've got cow farm and sugarcane farm. I can make all the books I want. I can just keep making iron boots, or I guess I could enchant wooden boots as well, just to clean up the enchantments afterwards. So before next episode, once I've got this done, once I've got this spawner setup done and an XP farm, I'm going to be enchanting and wiping and upgrading all of my gear and get myself some of the best gear I can possibly imagine. But right now, I'm going to get back on with crafting. Alrighty then. So, we've got some clay production of a fashion. It's going to cost me dirt. It's going to cost me dirt for clay. I have basically set up a little machine over here that converts dirt to clay for the sake of energy. Now, I could make clay through Minechem, but I found that that was a long, tedious, and very energy-consuming way of doing things, whereas these things don't use so much per tick. This is using like 40 per tick. This is using 40 when it uses 40, so not quite 40 per tick. This is using 40 when it uses 40 again, so it's using when it needs to, right? The general gist here, okay, is to end up with this, and this recipe, the recipe doesn't show, okay. 1 water bucket, 2 slag, and a 1 dirt creates 2 clay, okay. So, that's the output. Yeah, we'll work back from the output. Slag, water buckets, and dirt makes clay. And that very quickly switches through until I've got all of that, and then the water buckets will refill. I know it's amazing. I amaze myself sometimes. I've done this design before. I've done this whole cyclic assembler setup to make clay before. For the Flans mod. Sand and clay made something to make bits for guns, anyway. It's a long time ago, actually. Okay, so running through the basic process. An igneous extruder makes cobblestone. It's a cobblestone generator. It's generating for free. It doesn't cost me anything. It just makes cobblestone. It puts cobblestone up into a pulverizer. The pulverizer receives it and makes sand, and with a byproduct of gravel. The gravel is up and voided off into the trash can, because I don't want the gravel. The sand is pushed out to the right and just sits there at 2 stacks. To the right, we have the induction smelter, only accepting into the 1 slot because I've made it green, or with the sand. Okay, no problem. Then we've got the trick, making the slag. In an infinite cycle, we have got receiving from underneath pulverized iron. Okay, so it pulverizes iron. When it smelts sand and pulverized iron, well, any dust, any pulverized dust, there is a 25% chance that you will receive a byproduct of slag. When you're doing ores, there's a 75% chance that you'll get slag. But because I want to guarantee that I'm just getting loads and loads of slag for this particular process, I am just cycling a few iron nuggets, a few iron bars through the induction smelter, just smelting it, and then pulverizing it. So what we've got here is we're sending the iron, the pulverized iron bar, iron ingots up into there, yeah. And the trick here is exporting it out the back, and I've used Ender IO to export it out the back. So I've got a little export there, which is just extracting everything, which can only extract the iron. Well, the completed iron ingot. And then this is inserting anything, which can only be the pulverized iron. I don't even need to like whitelist them. It can only get the iron ingots into this machine, so the Ender IO pipes only can put it into this machine. And this is the only thing that comes out of the side. No, this is the only thing that comes out of the back of this machine, so that's the only thing the Ender IO can pick up from this machine. Right? You got it? Now, the slag that we get at 25% chance every time it processes a piece of iron comes out the right-hand side, and that just goes into a transfer node, and the transfer node puts it into here. Nice and simple. So the transfer node can't put it into here because that's clay, but the transfer node can put it into here, and that's allowing it through the green, which means only the top row. I don't know why I only did only the top row. I think I tried to make it so that the empties, because, oh yeah, that was it. I switched this round at one point to be purple, and the water buckets came in okay to the bottom row, but then the empties popped up here, and so it wasn't pulling the empties out, so I had to change it. So that could possibly be all blue as well, really. doesn't really matter. It can be all blue in there, it doesn't really matter. And water-wise, we've got an aqueous accumulator just on the corner here, making all the water in the world. And down here, hidden away slightly, is a fluid transposer, receiving water from the aqueous accumulator, and also receiving from the other side the empty buckets. And this is Ender IO set up to only take empty buckets into that machine, which means that I'm stuck now. Which means that the bucket gets emptied from here, and the Ender IO can pull it out the back and put it into this machine here, the fluid transposer, into the top. The fluid transposer then fills it up with water and outputs it through the top, which goes into this transfer node, and this transfer node has only one valid target, and that is back into here through the top slot. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And then when I add dirt, it will make clay. Empty the buckets will come back full until all the dirt's gone, and I will get clay. Oh no, clay. Oh no, I've just messed it up now, haven't I? There we go, that's better. I've just got all the empty buckets because of showing you how it all works. Okay, clay. So I could take clay from in here, right? Anytime I need clay for making the next thing that I need to make, which is a load more of the conducts that I've had to make down here to get the energy where I want it to go. Oh my days. And the next thing on my list is a nice and simple thing, so we'll do that quickly here now. I want to make some hardened energy cells. Because hardened energy cells, if we do shift, can send and receive 400 RF per tick. And we know that that would be 800, which my big reactor only does about 550, so that should be able to send and receive just about everything. I made up some Invar. Recipe for Invar is simple enough. It's iron dust and pulverized ferrous. We've got a fair bit of ferrous from messing things about before. Yeah, nearly 200. Gotta love it. So the hardened energy cell isn't too far out of my reach. I just need to make a couple of leadstone energy cells, which I don't have the first ingredients for it. There we go. Yeah, one. And I need the redstone to do the full block again. Yeah, you get a full block of that. And yeah, hardened. There we go. Get that. Make another one of those. There we go. And boom. Bum. I'll have 2 of those. Thank you. And then we'll get 2 of those. Thank you. And then we'll get 2 of those. Thank you. 1 for each output slot. Okay? So I've got those. Now I need to make... well, actually, I don't need to make any machines to make the cables and stuff. I can do my silicon in there again. I suppose it's just a little bit of grinding now to make the clay into the silicon that I need, or the binding component, composite binder, to make some more of my energy cables, these energy conducts, to go from the hardened energy cells to the spawners. If I've still got my spawner in here somewhere. I've got my spawner in here somewhere. Okay, my spawner's gone down there. There we go. I sounded all really cool and professional and all sorts until I lost my spawner. And I'm thinking about making another powered, another couple of powered spawners actually. So loads of energy conduits and loads of powered spawners. And I need to play around with it for a few hours, just experimenting with how it's going to lay out. Get the best layout, and then I will be back to record the final part of this episode with a working spawner, so I can show you how it was all working and set up and how lovely it is. Okay, I'm dismantling this area, so I'm going to try and get this spawner while it's a pigman spawner. See if I actually got a pigman spawner. So I'm dismantling anyway. Once this lot are dead, then that should be the last of them. I should receive it in here. Zombie pigman spawner. Nice. And the other one. Did I even get the other one? Have I got to take all this stuff out first? Ah, there we go. A magma cube one. Okay, yeah, it works. Awesome. Okay, put those in there. I'm going to clear this place out. I don't need to take all the glass and everything back, but I do need to take these things out that are going to be left here when I change the applied energistic system. Oh man, I just got a Monster Hunter achievement. How would you have guessed it, eh? Yeah, that's it. Okay, thanks. Update. Bye.